everyone, Rosie here. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I don't want to say this is my most exciting or like the TBR that I'm most excited for, but I'm really looking forward to this one. So this is my TBR for Nonfiction November, which is a readathon, a reading initiative. They seem to call it a reading initiative. I'm not sure what the difference is. If someone can tell me, please let me know because I'm confused. But basically it's organized by Olive from A Book Olive, and the goal is just to read more nonfiction in November. I will of course link Olive's channel and all of the related, she's got loads of co-hosts, so all of their information and the readathon information down in the description down below. So I've never taken part before. I honestly really only started to find the nonfiction side of booktube after I started my channel, so I didn't even know this was a thing last year. But now that I do, I'm so excited about it. As you guys know, I really enjoy reading nonfiction, and I'm just loving the idea of a readathon that will encourage me to read more of it. Because even though I really enjoy nonfiction, I don't tend to read as much of it as I do fiction. Usually I'll have, 3 fiction books on the go and 1 nonfiction. So I think this is going to be great for helping me really prioritize that. The first book on my TBR is actually the group read for the readathon, which is The Yellow House by Sarah M. Broom. This is a memoir slash family history, I think, centered around the author's childhood home in New Orleans. That's what I understand from the blurb. I get the impression that it also looks at sort of the meaning of home and what it means to have your home be in a disadvantaged neighborhood, things like that. So it sounds really interesting. I was so excited when I saw this was the group read because it's been on my TBR since it was released last year, I think. And it's one of those books that I always see and I never quite prioritize. That's going to be a theme in this TBR. So I was like, yes, instant sign up, definitely going to be doing the group read. In addition to the group read, there are 4 prompts, and they're just one-word prompts, so you can use them in whatever way you would like. You can interpret them however you want. So I've interpreted them in different ways for different prompts, mainly because I really wanted to fill this TBR with books that I already owned, which is what I've been doing a lot of lately, as you guys know. So I really went through and I didn't want to say commit to the word in the title if that was going to mean I bought new books. I wanted to find books in the ones that I already have that I'm excited to read and use those. The first prompt is time, and I'm reading Time Travel, a History by James Gleick, which, as you can see, I'm going literally with this prompt. Time is in the title. I think this is sort of an exploration of the concept of time travel, both in media and culture, and also in science, I think. I don't know too much about it other than the premise sounded amazing, so I bought it ages ago, and I just never got to reading it. Guys, story of my life, right? And I'm actually reading this one as a buddy read with Emma from A Cup of Books, so that's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. It sounds amazing. Like, I bought it for a reason, I just haven't prioritized it. The next prompt is movement, and for that I have chosen Lowborn, Growing Up, Getting Away, and Returning to Britain's Poorest Towns by Kerry, Hudson. This is, I think, part memoir, part like social commentary type book, looking at what poverty in modern Britain actually is and what that experience is like and how living in poverty in modern Britain affects people. And as the title suggests, it's by a woman who grew up in these towns and in these circumstances and has since reached financial stability and prosperity. So it's her looking at it from that perspective of having almost experienced both sides, which sounds fascinating. So the way I'm working movement into this one is the concept of, class or social mobility and movement out of poverty, or possibly for some people, I guess, I don't know what this is going to look at, movement into poverty, that sort of issue. So this should be really interesting. I've heard amazing things about this book from several booktubers whose taste I usually vibe with, so very excited to read it. The third prompt is buzz, and for that I have chosen Never Enough, The Neuroscience and Experience of Addiction by Judith Grisel, which I feel like summaries are so redundant for nonfiction books because it's like it's all there in the subtitle. But basically it's about the interplay with addiction and our brains and how all of that works scientifically. But then also, from what I understand, the author is a recovered addict herself, and it also includes some personal stories, personal narrative side of it, so that sounds really interesting. From what I've seen, it goes through like how different substances affect our brains, and then why that makes us addicted to them, and why it's so hard to break those addictions, which sounds heartbreaking and upsetting a bit, but also so interesting and like important to learn. And the way I'm tying this one into buzz is I'm looking at substances that give us a buzz. That's an interpretation, right? This is yet another one that I've been wanting to read for a while, so I fit the books into the prompts, sort of, as opposed to picking the perfect book for the prompt. The final prompt is Discover, and for that one I've chosen The Age of Wonder. I have to read this subtitle because it's so long. So it's called The Age of Wonder, How the Romantic Generation Discovered the Beauty and Terror of Science by Richard Holmes. And from what I understand, this is sort of half history of science, set of science in sort of the late 18th century, I believe, half biographies of the scientists at the time and how their different work interplayed with each other and what that community of scientists in Europe was like at the time. Honestly, I don't know too much about this book. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not. I bought it purely on spec because the title and the cover looked amazing. So I figure it's time I actually read it and see if it's worth having or not. And as you can probably guess, I'm working Discover in literally again. In this case, Discover is in the title. It's about discovery. It seems fitting. I have one more book that I'm hoping to read in November, which I'm not tying explicitly into any of the prompts. I thought about it, but it seemed to fit equally well and poorly in most of the prompts, so I'm just leaving it on its own. And that is Every Word is a Bird We Teach to Sing, Encounters with the Mysteries and Meanings of Language by Tammet. This is a collection of essays on language in all forms, from lip reading to translation to chatbots. Sounds incredible. It says it looks at how language and reality interact. This one I'm reading on pure recommendation because Lana from Lana Ex Libris says it's amazing and she wanted to do a reread, so I'm tagging along. We're going to buddy read that, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm fascinated by language. I don't know that much about it, honestly, and it's something I would like to read a lot more about. Because I think if I hadn't studied economics in school, I probably would have wanted to study linguistics. I just think it's so interesting. So I'm really excited about this one. As you can see, I've got a variety of books and a lot more nonfiction than I would usually read in a month, which is sort of one of the goals. If you don't usually read any nonfiction, read one. If you usually read some, try and read more. I usually read probably between 1 and 3 nonfiction books in a month, so I think 6 is a really good thing to aim for. It's enough that it'll be a bit of a challenge for me to read all of these, especially since nonfiction tends to be slower. But it's not so many that I'm not going to get through them, hopefully. Hopefully I'll get through all of these, because I'm really excited to read all of them. And that's something else I love about this reading initiative, is the prompts are really phrased and set up in a way that encourage you to go out and find the right book for you. They're all pretty open, so for me that meant really looking through my pile of books that I own, digital pile, and finding ones that had been lying unloved and that should have been read, and pulling them out and saying, yes, you found the perfect moment for this book. So that's been great. Hopefully I'll love all of these. Are you guys planning on doing nonfiction November? If you are, let me know down below. Do you have a TBR? Are you reading one book? Are you planning to read 10? Are you usually a nonfiction reader? Let's chat about it. Other than that, if you liked this video, please hit the like button down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, including hopefully a wrap-up where I talk about how much I loved all of these books, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.